of those relations between Mozambique and Malawi, as we joined on the line by political analyst and governance specialist Helio Guiliche. Helio, thank you so much for joining us. How are you this Monday?
Me and have a very good morning and a very good week ahead.
Awesome. Thank you so much. How can we describe the relations between Mozambique and Malawi and their key areas of agreement?
Well, I think there are historical ties between these two countries that are renewed with every new cycle of governance. And in addition to the historical ties, considering that they are both brother countries, I think there are sought to improve bilateral and cooperation with focus on issues on sharing water resources, water security, improving economic relations, and last but not least, the issue of border security and monitoring. I think these are the main focus that can guide and orient the relation between these two countries.
Would you say that diplomatic ties have benefited the two nations so far? It's been 50 years of agreements between the two.
I think yes. Diplomatically, I think in terms of integrating these two countries, more than economic and security issues, I think looking into the history, the liberation history, and all these challenges that both countries faced, I think some relations were built and must be kept in the sense that we are sharing some borders, we are sharing some languages, some people, some culture, and it's also important when we are speaking about diplomacy. It's important to address these issues that are not economic only, but also important in the sense that keep people together.
And now the two countries have opened the first ever one-go border post. It's a World Bank supported project. In what ways do you see this infrastructure assisting in the cross-border trade and investment for them?
Well, I looked at one of the major problems facing in the countries such as Mozambique, Malawi, Zambia, and so on, some countries in the region, is precisely the border management. They generally have a very huge bureaucracy and corrupt structure. So this will make it very difficult to move people, goods, and services that are vital to the survival of the parties involved. So I think our borders have also been dealing with a very weak security and control system. This makes an incursion of terrorists, insurgents, and smuggling of drugs and malicious products to the society. So I think improving the issue of border, improving security, improving the interconnection between these borders can enable and boost a kind of dynamism on economic and human security. And also the users will feel more comfortable, and consequently the economic gains will arrive from this side.
And projects like these are undoubtedly, they are undoubtedly positive in terms of removing trade barriers and assisting in economic cooperations. However, what possible challenges could emerge as a result of this particular project on the other hand, and how should these be averted? You speak of security issues.
Yes, security issues are really important. But above security issues, I think economic integration is a must. But when we look into the competition between or among countries, we see that some countries are trying to take some advantages. So when we put goods, services, and people in a very good way of interacting, the gains can arrive naturally. Removing all these barriers can also enable and boost, encouraging people to invest more in each other's side. I think there are kind of tourist of economic and ecological and so on and so forth opportunities that can be a win, because if we remove all these barriers, if we boost the security, so then countries can enjoy a favorable environment to invest and to enjoy the integration, the real integration among the region, and put the countries talking together and growing as a countries, as a region, and then as a continent.
Malawi and Mozambique, the leaders have also been talking about the need for direct flights between the two countries, moving away from the current state of affairs where they either have to go via South Africa or Zambia. What kind of support would be needed to make this a reality? And do you think the World Bank should be approached again?
Yeah, this is a tricky situation. For example, I can say that Mozambique has been facing enormous difficulties when it comes to aviation. And it's currently undergoing measures restructuring of the flag carrier with these Mozambique Airlines, with the view of reestablishing first regular flights at national level and then regional flights for the countries such Malawi, Zambia, Zimbabwe, South Africa, and so on and so forth. So signing this agreement and learning from other countries will enable Mozambique and Malawi also to avoid mistakes that were made in the past and have a national airline that can fly safely and with quality. So this will require a huge investment, but above all, transparency and political will to make it possible. I think it's unacceptable to go to Malawi. We have to have a stop in South Africa and then go to Zambia. I think there is no need to do that. And with political will and strong investment, we can make it a reality.
Is the World Bank the best investor in this one, funder?
We can work with the World Bank, of course, because of the availability of money, but also we can mobilize internal funding because we are not that poor as the literature and society are saying. So even mobilizing some internal funding, we can step by step doing a huge issue such as Ethiopia Airlines did in the past with private sector itself.
How can we read into this move, finally, as part of a general integration between other Southern African countries and how it sets precedents for the adoption of similar agreements?
Firstly, we have to put SADC working together with a common goal. What I've been seeing is that SADC and African Union sometimes are not working with common goal. And the competition, I know, but that inside the international relation, there are no friendship, but interest. But if we put apart some games of interest and put also the idea of common goal, we can explore the corridors that we have. We can make the economic vibration more alive and make countries talking the same language in terms of economic integration, cultural integration, respecting all the gains that individually as a countries we have to take. But if we have this percentage of gains that we can share gains, so then the countries will also gain from the idea of integration. So it will require a huge dialogue that can enable countries to establish a concrete platform that enable growth to happen without some strong external aid.
Besides what we've discussed today, what do you think the two countries should be focusing on moving forward in terms of which sectors specifically they need to be making more agreements on trade and economic growth front?
I think looking into the reality of these two countries, the agriculture should have seen as an important tool to integrating this, because the products that are producing are coming from Mozambique also into Malawi can feed the region. But above the agriculture, which is the base to sustain food security, I think even management of natural resources. So then, from the managing of natural resources, we can do a diversification, which will comprise the infrastructure, which will bring the idea of tourism and so on and so forth. So starting from this blessing that are the natural resources, then we can diversify the economy and then make the environment to tourism, to security, and to even ecological and game reserving and so on and so forth. We have a huge structure that must be seen attentively and looking into these opportunities that can enable countries to develop more.
Well, Helio, we'll leave it there for today. Again, appreciating your very important insights into this topic. Thank you.
Thank you, and see you in another opportunity.
Great, thanks so much. Helio Guiliche is a political analyst and governance specialist talking to us here on Africa Rise and Shine, discussing relations